In 1490, decades before Columbus ever glimpsed the Americas and long before Europeans would dominate the world's oceans, a Chinese fleet may have reached the shores of Africa, or even beyond. But why is the story nearly erased from history? Imagine this: towering 9-masted ships larger than a football field, filled with silks, porcelains, spices, and soldiers, cutting through the Indian Ocean. Their purpose? To show the world the unmatched power of the Ming dynasty, and perhaps to find new allies, new trade, or even new tributaries to the Chinese Empire. This wasn't fantasy. This was the treasure fleet, commanded by Admiral Zheng He. Between 1405 and 1433, Zheng He led 7 epic voyages across Asia and Africa. His ships reached India, Arabia, and the Swahili coast of East Africa. The Chinese brought gifts, not conquest. They returned with exotic animals like giraffes, ivory, and tales of distant kingdoms. But what happened after that? By 1490, the fleet was gone. Zheng He was dead. The Chinese court, under new leadership, suddenly turned inward. Shipbuilding was banned. Ocean exploration was halted. The greatest naval power on Earth vanished from the seas. And history itself. Yet tantalizing clues remain. In Kenya and Tanzania, some African tribes still tell legends of bearded strangers who came on great ships from the east. DNA studies have found traces of Chinese ancestry in small coastal populations. In 2002, Chinese ceramics and coins were uncovered near Malindi, objects that predate Portuguese contact. Could some ships from the lost fleet have stayed behind? Could their descendants still walk among us? And here's the twist: some researchers believe rogue Chinese admirals may have continued sailing even after the emperor's orders to stop. There are stories, controversial and mysterious, suggesting that by 1490, isolated Chinese sailors or traders had begun permanent settlements along parts of East Africa. Not invasions, not colonies, but a forgotten thread in the vast human tapestry. If true, this would rewrite everything we know about pre-colonial Africa and Asia. It would mean that globalization, trade, diplomacy, cultural exchange, was already happening between two ancient civilizations, with no European involvement at all. So why don't we learn this in school? Why do the history books start with Vasco da Gama and ignore the century before? Perhaps because the victors write history, and Europe's rise depended on forgetting the civilizations it once followed. At TriviaTales, we dig deep into forgotten truths, challenge the official story, and bring you the hidden sides of history. Because sometimes, the real adventures are the ones that were never supposed to be remembered.